Can you name one lesson or idea from abroad that's helped you or your colleagues?
One lesson that's helped us? Yeah, well, there are a couple actually. One is in the, I think we imported the free schools concept from either Scandinavia or the US, and I think that's actually obviously been enormously successful. And the other area is in digital, where we're in a group of people which is sort of sharing all sorts of digital technology, the D5 nations. So that would be a second one, where we're actually actively helping each other right now.
Okay. Are there any sort of projects or innovations from this country that might be valuable to your peers overseas?
Well, I'll use the technology one again. It turns out, if you look at the Israeli government website, it has a remarkably similar look and feel to the gov.uk website.
Right.
And that's because gov.uk was built with open standards to open standards, and therefore they could use it and replicate it quite quickly. So I think that, again, it's in the technology space that where we are actually, because of the way we've started to use some of these things, that others are picking them up and using them. And similarly in the US, they've modelled their digital service on GDS here in the UK. So it's quite interesting.
Thank you. How can we improve the ways in which senior public officials work with and learn from their colleagues overseas?
Well, it's, I think the obvious ways. So I'd say networks, of course, and fora where we meet and talk and share experiences, because it's remarkable how similar experiences are. So I'm sure there's a lot to be learned. Secondments would be good too. We do quite a lot of secondments within, you know, from the central government to the wider public sector. It does strike me that it would be great to do a few selective secondments into different governments, because I think, you know, young people could learn a lot from doing that. We'd then bring back and we'd sort of share more ideas. So I think those are probably things.
Yes. What's the biggest global challenges within your field over the next few years?
Well, I mean, I think it depends what my field. In some senses, I mean, you know, putting aside the sort of policy challenges, the health and obesity and all of those, and security, I mean, the government's obviously worrying about those issues. I think that if you like, if you come back inside, and I mean, in terms of making government work, I think the issues are to do with how we embrace the new technologies, actually, because they fundamentally change the way people work. So that would be, I think that's probably the biggest, and I think it's not unique in the public sector. This is being wrestled with all across the globe in the private sector as well. So how do we bring that in, embrace it in a way which both makes government more efficient and significantly improves the service that we provide to the citizens? I think that's probably right up there anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's your favourite book?
I was thinking about my favourite book. There's a book called, well, it's got two titles. It's either The Glass Bead Game or Magister Ludi, which is Hermann Heste's book, actually. And it's about it's a very interesting study of a sort of theoretical state in Central Europe sometime in the future called Castelia. Yeah. And in that state, people do just sort of two things. They learn to play this thing called the glass bead game. You never quite know what the glass bead game is, but it is a highly intellectual pursuit, and that's all they do. And it is a study of the difference between the sort of intellectual elite and outside of Castelia, the practical, pragmatic approach. And the key character of the book spends his time and becomes the Magister Ludi, master of the game. Mm-hmm. And then he decides one day to go outside. And he sort of, for lots of complicated reasons, goes outside. I think the second or third day he's outside, he goes swimming with his friend and drowns because he hasn't been equipped to deal with what's going on outside. It's an interesting study, and since I've spent my life at the practical end, I've always been rather interested. I mean, it's the sort of intellectual purity, the things that go on. I mean, it's a very interesting, anyway, it's an interesting book for my current moment.
Thank you very much indeed, John Manzoni, and good luck teaching the civil service to swim.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.